Let's have a little look. Well, Dave, let's check if we're live, mate. Let's check if we're live.
Are we live? Are we live? I'm just frantically moving
Are we
around.
live? Are we live? Let's have a look. I'll just check and see if we are. If you have joined us, yeah, just let us know that you're on the live. Do drop us a little comment. Yes, Dave, we are very much live. Awesome.
Loving it.
Right, Dave, let's get on into it. Right, hey everyone, Andy here and Dave for another Tuesday tune-in.
Yeah.
We hope you're well on this absolutely beautiful day. It's like 20 degrees outside. It's like summer's arrived already.
It's insane. I might have to open the window, but it does let in a bit too much sort of noise, but
it's all right, Dave. It's all right. The noise of nature.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Either that or some people from the office around here. But anyway, great to see people join in. Yeah, if you have joined us, do say hello. Hey, Julie, Ramona, Lee, Shona, Amanda, Marky V, Miko, James, Laura, Chris, Jim. Oh, hey, Evertrek's on. That must be Lauren. Jane, Sital, Joel, Suzette, Paul, Warren, Paula, Lucy, and Bri, of course. I knew you'd all join today because, yeah, it's a bit of a slightly different one. Obviously, we'll still do the main question and answer session as we always do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Confessions of a Painted Yeti. It sounds like some sort of thriller, doesn't it? But yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a thrilling live, Dave.
Yeah. Well, it's not like I've joined the 12-step program or anything, and I've got to confess my sins. No, it's literally. I think we had a lot of queries about, particularly when we do the competition. It involves a lot of people asking the question, I wanna go, but can I go? And that can I go obstacle is one that I think most humans have experienced. If we're not born in the mountains, or if we're not Kent and cool, most average guys and average girls have had that sort of bit of self-doubt, and we thought we'd do one about it because I've got history with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I know it's typical. Before we were just chatting before coming on the live. I swear it's the closest thing I can think of is, you watch Anchorman or the news, and they're sort of chatting and they go say, hey guys, and then before it they're probably swearing at each other, or the other way, they're being nice to each other. Me and Dave were chatting and I'd say, Dave, what about fat camp to base camp? Is that a bit too much? And Dave was like, no, that was perfect. That's exactly
I was like, I'll take the blame. because it literally got to a point like back in sort of 2015 where I was considering I had to go to one camp, and it was either going to be fat camp or base camp, but something had to change. And evidently I made the right decision.
You certainly did, mate. You certainly did. More people joining us. Great to see you on. Hey Mick, hey Diane, hey Tracy, Shane, Charlotte, Allen. Always good to see some of the regulars on, as always, and some newbies. I hope we get some questions. Obviously, we're going to go into the main crux of the live today, but yeah, if you do have any questions, guys, drop them in. We've had some drop in before the live, and we'll answer those in due course.
Yeah.
But right, Dave, I mean, I'll go straight into it because a couple of questions from me about your journey. I mean, where were you at the time? Obviously, I know this is before Evertrek kind of happened now, but what were you doing? What was happening in your life around that time then, when the idea kind of came, okay, I'm going to go to base camp?
Yeah, so history going back a little while, this might be interesting to you guys. So me and Andy first met each other in another life before Evertrek existed, and my job there was I worked for banks and insurance companies as a manager there, and I worked with Andy, and we never once discussed like mountains or traveling or anything like that. So but at that time I was sort of on this like steady decline in physical and I'd probably say mental health as well, just because I was I was stuck in a position. Now, not to say there's anything wrong with the type of job you do, but I wasn't really getting anything out of life, other than work and going home, and it was kind of affecting me a little bit. And then I saw Andy on Facebook had gone to Everest Base Camp years after I met him, and I dropped him a little message and said, listen, it was something I'd love to do. But actually in the back of my mind after I sent that message was, do you know what, I don't even know if I can do it. It's like, because at that time I was 19 stone 8 and gaining weight month by month pretty much, and that was literally just like, trying to, I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like you just like on auto shovel, putting food in, going to work, coming home, watching TV, eating, having a beer or two, going to work, coming home, eating, having a beer or two. And I was doing that for years. And then it got to a point, where I was 19 stone 8. Hadn't done a lick of exercise in ages. In fact, the only exercise I did do, I was working in Milton Keynes and I bought a road bike to kind of get to work. It was only 8 miles away. I got halfway there, I turned around, rode back home and phoned in sick. Honest to God, full disclosure. I was like, I thought I was going to die, and it wasn't that long after that I messaged Andy, and I had that doubt in the back of my mind, even after I messaged him, thinking, I don't think I can do it. Like I'm too fat, I'm too unfit.
Yeah.
That time has gone.
So what was so Dave, clearly, I mean, seems like you're quite low at that point. I know what was the changing thing for you then? What was the lightning bolt? I know we've talked about this before.
Yeah, to be honest, it was like I'd always had a desire, like probably many people have, to go to the Himalayas, to climb mountains and live a more adventurous life. But you get stuck in your day-to-day grind, and it was seeing someone that I used to work with doing the exact same thing that I wanted to do, but I decided I couldn't do it, and then you decided you could and went and did it. And it just got me thinking about like what's the difference? Like we had almost an identical life, working in doing stuff like that. And really it was making the decision to, like I said, that's why it was I either had to go to fat camp or base camp. And I made the decision to go to base camp. And I think that was the thing that changed it for me, was having something that I needed and wanted to achieve stopped me eating myself to death. And it started off like with little changes, like, and doing a little bit of exercise every day. So within a year, I did it. Like I started training at the end, like I was going into space, I was like training like a mad Egypt, but it started off with half-hour walk a day, and that was it. And it was literally just half an hour a day. But when you're quite big, like I was, half an hour walk burns a lot of calories, so that half an hour was making a difference, like almost immediately. And I went from walking half an hour a day to running a half marathon inside of a year. And the only thing that kind of kept me going was, and I used to ride my bike a lot. And I remember like John, the great bald Yeti, I remember saying to him when we were on a ride and I was freezing cold, and he could back me up. And I said, you know what, it's okay, because I'll be colder than this when I go to base camp. So this is training, and when I was running and my like feet were sore and my legs were hurting, I'd say, I'm going to be hurting more than this when I go to base camp. So this is training, and I literally had that mantra in my mind, like, nice. X will be more when I go to base camp, and I just built it up that way.
Yeah, nice, Dave. It's a hell of a story, mate. I mean, firstly, I'm glad you chose the latter of going to base camp and doing something about it. I mean, obviously you were customer zero essentially, weren't you, before before we started, and and it was a big thing for you. And I think the reason we were talking about this is that we can see that over the last week or so, there's been a few messages coming in. A lot of them is, I can't do it, it's not for me. And I know a lot of people on the live now had already booked in. Some of you have been to altitude with us before, and are kind of the converted already. But because a lot of you have been through this kind of thing. Like Bri, you've said there, you started running about same sort of time 5 years ago to lose weight, and the best thing you did. I know Diane, just I see your social feed. You inspire us as well, mate. You're out all the time. You are way fitter than you need to be, trust me. But like you said, it's a great motivation, and you're getting out there, you're doing stuff, you're putting in the miles, and I think it is important to do that, get fit. But I suppose the point of all this is that we always talk about planning for when we can, and when it comes to planning for a trip, you don't have to wait until you're actually the half marathon fit. You can get that date in the diary. I think, Dave, like you set yourself a target, and then you did what you had to do then before you went to make sure that you're going to succeed. Is kind of the point. And that's what we, with Dave, we were talking about this, about once you get that in the diary and you've got something to work through, your mind kind of gives you that kick every morning. If you're waking up a bit tired, if you're thinking, oh, do I go out now, or do I chill out? Do I put a Netflix on? It gives you the bit of a kick up the backside. And sometimes we all need that. Doesn't matter, how motivated we can be. We all need that sort of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And Dave, for you, I know the inspiration was obviously right. I'm not gonna let my body take over. I'm going to use my mind, and I'm going to set the date, and then I'm going to work towards it and train like a beast. And look what happened, mate. I mean, you're the other side now. You're a Yeti.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the one thing as well. Like, although my training did get, like, I did take it, and I really got into it.
Yeah.
The most important training that I did, and all the training that actually got me to base camp, started at the beginning. Like, like you were saying, like the half marathon didn't help me get to base camp.
Yeah.
More than the half an hour walk did at the beginning. It was the half an hour walk at the beginning that got me the most, and then I upped it to an hour. And I just did that every day, like come rain or shine. And I accepted the fact that sometimes I was going to be miserable doing that, but it was going to be worth it. And I was pretty miserable anyway. And I know not everyone has this, like they're either depressed or miserable or overweight or unfit, but a lot of people might have one of those things, and it's good to know that it doesn't actually prevent you from doing this. And I think the biggest change in mindset for me was that I couldn't go to Everest, or I couldn't climb Kili, because it's easy to get yourself into that, because it's almost like a get out of jail free clause. If you say to yourself, I can't do it, then you don't have to worry about doing it, and it's kind of off your plate, but also not really. But if you do have the desire to do it, and telling yourself you can is just kind of a way of cheating yourself out of it, then you really can. Like, you don't have to be a superhero, to go and do these things. Anybody with half a mind that they want to do like something like an adventure, but they're worrying that they're unfit, or they're worrying that they're going to be too slow, is 100%. You can overcome that easily. It's not hard to do whatsoever. In fact, it was probably a lot easier than the challenges I was going to be facing later on down the road if I didn't take action, but I'll be honest, having the deadline did help, because I held myself sort of accountable to it.
You didn't have a choice, did you? You had to do it, right?
Yeah, and it was just panicking. I tend to be more on the anxious side of the spectrum anyway, So like, if I do have a date that something's got to be done, it'll kind of bug me, and like when I know I'm going somewhere, at times to like my mind, like Andy knows, when we book flights together, I'll ask him 5 times a day, what day's that flight, and what time's that flight? And it's like,
Dave.
Yeah, even though he emails it to me, and he's like, I'll have to go into my emails and check like you would. But for some reason, I just need to, like, it's on my mind constantly. And I think having base camp on my mind constantly, and really wanting to do it, and really wanting to make it there. And it's strange, like, as soon as I got there, I realized I could have done this years ago. I could have really done this. And then you think, well, what else can I do? And
it's
transformational.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of lessons I take from that. And Davis, thanks for talking us through it, mate, because I hope people on the live can resonate with that, and know they're not the only ones to go through similar sort of experiences, and journeys. I know we all go and take on these things for different reasons. I mean, just reading some of the comments, clearly Bry went there for hydration. I love his thing. Run to the off license with an empty backpack, then walk back with it full. All the inspiration you need. I love that. But no, it's so, and Mick, you mentioned about going, for your good lady, mate, and it was I know it was we talked privately, and it was big journey for you, and obviously you're coming back with us to Island Peak, which we can't wait to have you, mate. Trust me, we can't wait to run that trip for you. We know how special it is. And other people as well, like Carl. Carl Blasberg there, great. You're injured, but it's not stopping you. I like that. You've already got it in the diary. 2023. It's a while away, and you got something to focus on. And I think if one thing the last year has taught us, Dave, I know we've talked about this privately. We need these things to get out of bed in the morning. To kind of focus on, to actually give us that encouragement. We got to have that kind of that target, and it's always easier to work to a target rather than just bimbling along without. I mean, which is nice sometimes, but when you've got a target there, you work hard to make it happen, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that target can be anything, you know, like for me, it was base camp, you know, for some people, they might want to start somewhere like, you know, well, actually my target is I'm going to walk to work twice a week, you know, and that's that one target. Okay, done that. Now my next target is I'm going to run to work twice a week. Okay, done that. And then you have no idea where those little incremental steps take you, you know, and it's taken me, like, I only ever thought that I'd go to base camp once. I was still working for the bank when I went, and I went there, I was working for the bank, I took a holiday, I went to base camp, and I came back, and I thought that was it. But honestly, you have no idea where that can take you, because once I knew that was possible, it was like, wow, what else can I do? You know, and now, and as it turns out, repeatedly go back to base camp.
Addicted to altitude now, Dave. I must be.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's, you know, Kilimanjaro, the 7 summits are on the cards, you know, and I remember thinking like I'd never be able to summit all like the 7 summits. And now I think like 100% I can do the 7 summits. I wonder what will happen after that. You know, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, we always talk about everyone's Everest is different, and you know, it doesn't have to be climbing Everest. It could be Pen y Fan, it could be Ben Nevis, it could be going to the summit of Kilimanjaro or going to Everest Base Camp, whatever it is. But just having that target there, it makes it much more of a reality than just a pipe dream. And I think, I mean, it clearly worked for Dave. I know it's worked for a lot of our Evertrekkers. You know, I wish I could have all those stories, because you've got so many different people in our community that have come from a challenging situation. They've achieved something, and now they're going on to so much more. And that's what life's about, you know. It can be so short. And I know, I don't know if you've seen a couple of my messages last couple of weeks, a couple of my emails, and you get reminded every now and again that life can be short. So make the bloody most of it whilst we're here. And that's what we're here for. And that's what we thought we'd talk about this today, because we had a few questions come in. A few people maybe sitting on the fence that were like, well, really, is it really for me? And like, you know, we're always open and transparent. These trips aren't for everyone. They're challenging, they're difficult. You're gonna get cold, you're gonna get a headache, you're gonna get tired. You know, you might miss home. You know, and then there's obviously the financial side to it, and we like to think we can help with that a little bit with regards to the way we run the business. You know, monthly payment plans, you know, reductions in deposits and things like that. We want to make it as reachable as possible. And if there's anything, you're reaching out to those of you on the live that maybe haven't gone for it yet or are thinking about it, drop us a message. We'd love to sort of, you know, help you on your journey if that's what you want. And we hope, you know, that little bit of Dave's history and it might be a little bit of encouragement for you. But right, Dave, should we tackle some questions? I know we've been going for sort of 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, why not, mate? Why not? Why not?
I know we've had a few drop in, haven't we, on the old WhatsApp with Lauren?
Yeah, so let's have a quick look. First one from Andrea. Hey guys, can you/do you provide help and advice with booking the necessary flights to and from Nepal? My friend and I are keen to book for Ultimate EBC and Island Peak Trek for next year and trying to price everything up. Can we? Yes. Do we? Yes. So flights, although not included, are something that everyone needs to know. Where do I go from? Where do I go to? When do I book them from? When do I need to arrive? All of those questions we can help you with. You know, so all you've got to do is give us a call, drop us an email. Quite often I've sent an email back, book flight this date, leave UK this date, arrive Kathmandu this date, leave Kathmandu this date. So it's nice and easy. You don't have to do any second guessing or anything like that. And Ultimate Island Peak, awesome. What a trip. You're going to absolutely love it. So 100%. I can help you with anything. Well, nearly anything.
Yeah, great stuff. It's I think with flights, we've had quite a few questions around flights this week. People booking in and wondering sort of, you know, who to go through. I think we were talking this morning when we were having a little huddle around. We still want to reiterate, like, when you're, because a lot of issues with flights last 12 months. I know some of you on here haven't booked flights yet or booked your trip yet. Do your research with you know, those flight comparison sites like Skyscanner, Momondo. You know, there's plenty out there. You can just do it into Google. But we still recommend booking directly with airlines. It might be a little bit more expensive, but from what we've heard from all the people that have been booking flights and changing them, you know, and personal research as well, it's just a lot easier to reschedule directly with these airlines. So I mean, even this morning, I had some flights at the end of the year that I had an email saying they've been cancelled. I've got a new flight. I know that would have been challenging if it was via a third party, but because I booked directly, I get the communication directly. So it's yeah, just something to think about with regards to flights, because I know a question came in about it.
Yeah.
Nice, Dave. Yeah, Jane Litard mentioned, do you need lots of fancy gear to do the Killy trek? Dave, yeah, any fancy gear for that, mate? You need to take a
You don't,
Kilby hat.
you don't need any fancy gear, but it's certainly nice to buy. So no, not necessarily fancy gear. I would say more good quality gear, which doesn't necessarily have to cost you the earth. The one thing it is I always say this: I'm not a gear snob, but I do like to buy as many things as I can. But you know, if someone tells me that there's a base layer from Aldi that's really good, I'll certainly go and buy it. And if it is really good, I'll buy that over an icebreaker one. You know, it just so happens that I do have a few icebreaker ones, but that's only because I haven't found that Aldi one that's better. But certainly, yeah, you could definitely you know, get to say the summit of Kilimanjaro without any sort of super duper kit and stuff like that. I mean, you've only got to look at what the porters and the guides wear, the local guides and stuff like that, to realize that sometimes we're hugely over equipped, but also we're not as fit and we're not as accustomed to the mountain as they are. So sometimes having some good kit, you know, does make the difference. If you're going to spend loads of money on anything, make it boots, you know, and a down jacket.
Point. Yeah, I agree with Dave there. If there's two things you're going to focus on in terms of money, yeah, boots, look after your feet. And this will, if you get a decent down jacket, it becomes your go-to duvet when you're struggling to get to sleep if it's too cold on the side of Killy, or yeah, on a cold morning getting up to climb up Kalapatar on the Everest Base Camp trek. Yeah, a good down jacket goes a long way. Yeah, a couple of questions as well. One question I'll right off the bat is someone talking about combing my hair. Yeah, tangle teaser, I believe, would probably be easiest. I think someone's mentioned, I think it was Shona mentioned that. Yeah, my 8-year-old stepdaughter has got a tangle teaser. I should really borrow it from time to time, but I wouldn't want to look too tidy now. You know, I wouldn't get away with a Yeti look then. So yeah, a comb doesn't really come close to my hair, unfortunately, but yeah, it will do soon, potentially. You never know. I'll let you know. But lovely. Right, Dave, what's next? What we got?
Let's have a quick look now. So Jerome, how's it going? Jerome has asked, will there ever be a Nevertrek trek to Everest Camp 1?
Ooh.
Probably not in Nepal, because you need a permit to climb through the icefall and actually get up to Camp 1. Also, for the purposes of just getting to Camp 1, I'm not sure the risk of going through the icefall is a particularly good idea, because obviously it is very dangerous, it is very changeable, and if you're not going for the summit, if you ideally want to avoid it. A lot of Everest expeditions now, they actually acclimatize on neighboring peaks to avoid the number of trips through the icefall. There's potentiality for a north side trip. You can go up to the North Col, which is a North Col trip, which is I think equatable. Maybe, yeah, I think it's so you got base camp, advanced base camp, and then the North Col, which I think is around Camp 1, maybe between Camp 1 and Camp 2. We don't actually operate there yet because it's very tricky to get permits and stuff like that in China/Tibet. But no, we're probably never going to run a trip that just goes to Camp 1. It'll be probably base camp, summit.
Damn right. I was going to say, Dave, yeah, because we've discussed, we're unsure under which guise yet, but over the next few years, we're going to be moving towards organising, climbing Everest. So yeah, we'll go a little bit higher than Camp 1, but you know, we know that's a totally different ball game when it comes to climbing Everest to go to base camp. You know, whether it'll be under Evertrek's brand, it'll be something similar. But yeah, we'll certainly be pushing that in the near future. For people that are looking, obviously, it's very niche in terms of climbing Everest. You know, you're talking of less than 10,000 people have ever climbed it. So, you know, it's very, very niche. But certainly something we're looking to move into. I mean, obviously myself and Dave, it's a ambition of ours. Now we're in the industry, we understand what needs to happen, and I think when it comes to that, it's completely different. I mean, we could do a whole live on it, but essentially, you know, we don't want to do it just because we can. You know, we want to make sure it's like everything. It's safe. It's the best. We use the best guys. You know, and we want to make sure we do that before anything else. You know, we got some other peaks we're bringing in first. I think the last couple of days, Dave, I know we've been working on Mount Elbrus, haven't we? I know we talked about it before, but we've been liaising with our suppliers over in Russia, just making sure that we got everything sorted, because we won't be long and Elbrus is on the cards. I know that obviously we've been talking about South America. Patagonia isn't a million miles away, Dave, is it?
Yeah,
In
I
terms of
mean,
where we're going to go.
Patagonia is there. It's close.
Yeah.
Did a lot of work on that yesterday. Been chatting to the guys over in Russia about Elbrus, because I think every live we do when we talk about new trips, someone says Elbrus, Dave. You know, and
I know
almost
Rico
certainly.
wants to go
Yeah, I just saw a message. A lithium Mons, isn't that on Mars?
It's Olympic Mons. It's on Mars. Yeah, it's the highest mountain in the solar system, I believe.
Yeah. Why not, Matt? I'll do it, mate. You know, if you have a chat with Elon and get the transport sorted, I'll do it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know why, but yeah, I was doing a little bit of research on Olympic Mons. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so high that once you get to the actual highest point, you can't see the edge of the mountain because it's that far away.
Yeah.
It's literally over the horizon. It's so big. It's more like think of I'm not gonna maybe think of like Australia up with a big plateau on the side. That's
Yeah.
Olympic Mons essentially. An absolute beast. I'm not sure we'll be doing trips there, but yeah, as Dave said, we'll have a word with Elon and we'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
Tick on the bucket list. You never know.
Yeah.
Right, Dave.
Exactly.
What is next, mate? What we got?
So let's have a quick look. So Jerome has asked about the Patagonia ice fields and Upper Mustang treks.
Yeah.
Jerome, I don't know whether you've got like a camera or a spy or something in the office, but I did quite a lot of work on both of those. So Upper Mustang is one that we're actually revising slightly. So we have already done it,
We've done it, yes.
but the region has slightly changed now. So it's a restricted area of Nepal. So you have to get a special permit to be able to trek there. So I'm actually revising the Upper Mustang at the minute, just to accommodate for that. Patagonia ice fields, as we just said, it's this close. We got to just get a few little more details in place, like our guides and stuff like that, and then literally it's a matter of like prices, dates, boom, book. So nice and easy. Let's have a quick look. So Kim Lawley said you haven't pushed your jackets yet. What's up? Are you on about the Everest Evertrekker jackets? Yeah. Well, to be honest, we do them in waves. Yeah. So we're pretty much about to ready to start the next one now. So what happens is that we send off a load of them. They're made in Nepal by the local Nepalese people. They're put together for you guys and sent back to us to send out. But we have to do them in waves, because in order to maximize the donation, the more jackets that we get made in one go, the more money that actually gets donated, because it's a volume sort of business. That's why we don't do sort of 1, 2, 3 here. We do like 25 or 30, and then we do another 25 or 30. But you've actually beat me to it, because we're pretty much ready for another wave.
Yeah, we're not far away, are we? I mean, firstly, just I don't know if you saw a post, people on the live about a week or so ago. Anu sent us some pictures and did a little gathering, really. We donated some supplies, some cash, much needed cash, to the guys and the team over in Kathmandu. Yeah. Because it's very difficult for the guys in Kathmandu with all the restrictions that have been there. The kind of guys that live in the mountains probably have a little bit easier because they've got the land and they could grow their crops and things. Has been challenging in Kathmandu, especially with, we're kind of a year out now, and no sort of customers. So it's been a bit challenging for them. But look, the kind of messages and the love we got back is a lot. So if you did get a shelter jacket and you were part of that, once again, a big thank you from us, because it means a lot. I think Lauren has actually posted the link to the jacket. So if you do want to grab one, as Dave said, they do go in batches. So if you place it today, once we get up to a certain level, then we'll get those jackets ordered for you guys, because they come over from Nepal, so it's not the quickest. But we obviously, it's great to get involved with that, and we can't wait to get back there, because it's been long, and we can't wait to get back to Nepal either, as well as anywhere in the mountains, guys. If you've been on any of these lives, we always mention it. We can't wait, and that hasn't changed. Where we just can't wait to get back. Which isn't too long, I hope. All these restrictions are always changing. I mean, with Nepal, there was a little update this week, wasn't it, that they're, I think they're getting rid of the quarantine when you go in there. So essentially, it means that you get like a PCR test, or if you've had a vaccination, you don't have to quarantine essentially if you've had those things.
Yeah.
It changes every week, but by the time we eventually run our trips to Nepal, which will be starting in September, in Nepal itself, then that'll probably change again. So yeah, we'll keep you updated anyway if you're going out in the autumn.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have a look. So Asher, how you doing, Asher? Hey Yetis, I struggle with going downhill as I have a fear that I'm going to fall down. Any tips on how to get better at going downhill? Right, I had difficulties going downhill, and it was all to do with the fact that my right knee is basically dust. So it was always difficult. Two things. One, it starts off with the boots. So we're walking up and down mountains, but there's only about that much of us that's actually connected to the ground. So the boots that I use were the Maindel Boutans. They got them in, and I've combined them with the Superfeet Trailblazer insole, which is like 40 quid for an insole, which is insane. But actually, those two combined, really stable. There's no movement of the foot. The grip is really good. So that changed everything, and just the boots made a big difference. Then also poles. Trekking poles are really important for going downhill. You want to extend them so they're quite longer than you need them, if you're walking on the flat or uphill. And the reason being is because you can put them out in front of you, and that can give you an extra contact on the ground as well. So with both poles down and both feet down, you've got 4 contacts. Mainly when you're walking, it's 3 contacts, so both feet and a pole, and that should make you really secure. Other than that, get good at falling. So there is a method to fall. I've managed it. Andy saw me on the way down from Killy when you're going down that big volcanic,
it's quite slippery, right?
Slope.
Yeah.
And I just fell and landed there. And actually, I landed so well that I was so comfortable and tired. I was like, oh god, I can just like it, But yeah, practicing your break falling. But honestly, shoes and poles make a big difference.
Yeah, it's something that it takes practice. I think the more time you spend on your feet walking, up and down, you'll get used to getting your grip. When it comes to hiking. I mean, yeah, it's one of those. I think when it comes to going to Everest Base Camp or Killy, whichever one you're sort of looking at, there's not that. I mean, I'm thinking, there's not sort of areas where they kind of got steep drop-offs essentially. It's not quite like that. So it's you're not walking across a ridge. When you're going up to Kalapatan and you get to the summit, then it kind of drops over, and you might be going over some suspension bridges. But it's really one. I'd say you've got to be comfortable on your feet. Because it's not paved or anything. It's essentially yak paths that the local Sherpas use in Everest Base Camp, and on Killy, you're on very mixed terrain as you go up there. You've got jungle, you've got a massive plain, and then when you start to get to the glaciated regions, you get a lot of loose rock. We got to do a little bit of scrambling, especially on the descent. But as Dave said there, get yourself a sturdy set of boots. Get out there, practice. You'll fall over, you'll get back up again, you'll learn, and then you'll fall over less. I would, and then go for it. Again, I go back to the beginning there. If it's something that you want to work towards, set yourself a goal, saying, okay, I'm going to get comfortable by that date. Could be 2 years from now, but at least you got something to work towards. But I hope that kind of answers your question. Dave, I'm going to jump in. A couple of I know Jerome mentioned around, I think he was asking around something to do with our tree planting, which we've done in Tanzania. And with regards to Tanzania, I think Karen, you asked about, have you had anything official about Tanzania yet? Well, they're a bit in upheaval, really. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, I think their president, Magufuli, he actually passed away, and he's a very revered figure over there, who had changed a lot. And even when we were out there early last year, they built this whole new railway that had changed, parts of the transport system. So they're kind of recovering from that, really. I think knowing if their government's in upheaval, there's going to be mixed information coming out there. But look, as soon as it's safe to go over there, we will. As soon as obviously lockdown in the UK releases, then we can think, okay, let's plan. But Karen will certainly let you know. I mean, unfortunately with Tanzania, they're still on the red list. I know Dave, you always get updates with regards to who's on the red list essentially. And unfortunately Tanzania is, which means that when you come back to the UK at the moment, you have to quarantine in a hotel. It's like £1,800. So we certainly don't want to be trekking or go into a country if that's the case when you get back, because it'll cost as much as going on a trip, right? Whilst we're talking about Tanzania, Jerome asked about planting avocado trees. And actually, it was yesterday. I kind of put it on. It's on the website as of last night, but you may have seen probably back in May last year, we sort of joined up with declare a climate emergency, and we come up with our own sort of climate plan, which I will drop in actually here. Have a little look at it, guys. It's basically this is what we're going to do going forward. It's not like one of those corporate plans that you see. It's got all those different things. It's kind of Evertrekified, so it's our way. We already do a lot already when it comes to the environment. We realize that we still got a long way to go, and yeah, when it comes, we're going to do a lot more than just planting avocado trees. Although it's something we do love to do, and if you're going out to Tanzania with us, you can certainly do that, supporting the local community projects. But we want to kind of take it to the next level with what we're doing, and big part of it is the measurement stage. Have a little read of that plan because it'll have a little bit more information. We want to measure our impact, and then once we know then exactly what we're looking at, we can look at other ways to mitigate that. And yeah, and we'll certainly keep you updated. But that link I just put in there about Evertrek's climate action plan is just kind of we're just talking about the next sort of 12 to 18 months and what we're going to be doing from our side in the UK and sharing with all of our suppliers as well. So yeah, have a little read, guys. I hope you enjoy.
Awesome. Lorraine Ross has asked our views on the lovely Barranco Wall. Highlight of the trip for me, Lorraine, one of my absolute favorite bits. It's quite intimidating when you actually reach Barranco Camp and you see the wall because you can't discern the path, and it just looks like this giant black wall that you think like, how am I going to get up there? Yeah. But actually, the guides that we use, the porters that we use, are awesome. They know that wall like the back of their hands, and actually, it was amazing. It was one of the best highlights of the whole trip. Getting a little bit on hands and knees action and getting up there, and actually, when you hands and knees action sounds a bit rude, I just realized. When you get to the top as well, it's an awesome viewpoint where you can just look out and just see the sky. You can do a cool little picture where you jump in, and if they catch a picture, it just looks like you're in the sky. Love the Barranco Walls. My absolute favorite bit of the trek, really, other than the summit.
Yeah, it is. It's true highlight. I think it looks harder than it is, just to put that out there. That's not to say it's easy, but when you're scrambling through it or something before it, you think, oh my God, it's like Dave said before, it's like Mordor. It is a little bit scrambly, but nothing that's, I'd say, different. You know what? If you got your hands and knees and you climbed your stairs, think about that. Okay, you've got a little drop off on the right hand side, but we got guides and porters there to kind of look after you, and that's what they do. And yeah, when you get to the top, one of the truly great views you'll see, because of where it is on the mountain. It does feel like you're in space almost. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. A couple of questions. I think Chris Collins, great to see you on the live, mate. I know you had to rebook your trip. I think you've done it a couple of times, haven't you? Rebooked for November. When do you think I should start looking at rebooking again? I mean, Chris, you can do that anytime. Don't forget. Obviously, we're looking at running Nepal. Essentially, obviously, the next season's the autumn now, because the spring season can't go ahead. But whenever you're ready, you choose a date and you work towards it, and you can reschedule it. You can do that anytime, and there's no charge to that. Don't forget. Let's definitely get that in the diary. I go back to what we talked in the beginning about having that something in the sand, that line in the sand you can work towards. I know I must be frustrating. I know it's like, I mean, on a personal level, me and Dave have had trips cancelled, but I know it's nothing compared to what you guys have gone through. Okay, Dave's had 5. Fair enough, Dave. That's quite a lot.
I just want to put that out there. 5.
But yeah, certainly reach out to us, Chris. We can work towards putting that date in the diary and working towards it again. We want to get you out there as soon as we can, mate. So yeah, drop us an email.
Yeah, awesome. Let's have a quick look here. So Diane has said, with some of the scrambly bits, would I put the poles away? 100%. So the poles are pretty much only on like the trekking paths is the only time that I'll use them. Anything where I might actually be better, anytime I got to use my hands, basically, I'll put the poles away. Having the poles when you've got to use your hands is just cumbersome. Your hand's going to go up like that. If you're pinching a pole, it's like way off to the side. You poke someone in the eye, So yeah, I always put the poles away and use my hands wherever possible, especially on the Barranco Wall. Didn't see anyone using poles. They're just not of any use there. It's more on the trekking paths up and down. Classic example is like Penavan. You go in a Penavan, bring a trekking pole on your way down, extend them, put them out, so they just takes pressure off the legs and stuff like that. They're not technical in
Nice.
any way. They're literally there for sort of stability, balance, and efficiency, I guess, is what you'd say as well.
Yeah, nice, Dave. Oh, excuse me. I think, yeah, Diane, one thing to get in mind as well, you'll be doing that the whole trip. I mean, God knows how many times you're putting your poles up and then you're packing them away and you're doing the same, back and forth, back and forth. I think you'll find what works for you. Definitely, even maybe trial them once you're able. I know in England there's still lockdown at the moment, but once you can get to the mountains, definitely get out there and trial poles, and then put them away for an hour, and then go for it again, and then find what works for you, mate.
Yeah,
And you'll yeah, there's when it gets to certain parts and it feels like, okay, this is definitely not pole territory, chuck them in the backpack, or if you've got attachments on the bag, and then yeah, just hands and knees, and yeah, you'll find your way. You'll be fine.
yeah.
Great stuff, Dave. Shona's asked, I should know this, but is it still lifetime deposit? Yeah, it is, Shona. We so when you book with us, if you because we know people who have maybe cancelled their booking or rescheduled. When you book with us for a deposit, yeah, it is lifetime. So essentially, we know the reason we brought that in, which was probably 18 months, 2 years ago. It seems like longer now because the last year has just flown by. But that it's, we always wanted to be as flexible as we can. And the lifetime deposit means that when you book with us, even if life gets in the way, you're still going to go on a trip. It's just a matter of time. So that deposit doesn't expire. So yeah, and yeah, Shona, I know we've got all these different trips. Yeah, if you do say book a trip and you want to move on to another one, we're like we always are. We're as flexible as possible. So yeah, just drop us a message and we can move you on to a different trip. Or go on them all. It's up to you. But no,
Yeah.
honestly, if you want to move your date, that's no problem at all. We can do that if you booked in, because like I said, lifetime deposit, super flexible. And do check out our we call it sort of ultimate flexibility promise, if you like. It's more to do with COVID because we wanted to make sure that if you book in during COVID or if you're doing anything from COVID, that we're kind of you've got that flexibility, and we'll do like as we've always done. We'll be as flexible, and we're not going to just put no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. We're very flexible like that. And yeah, if Shona just reading, yeah, if you get a lottery win, I will. Good luck, mate. Good luck. But yeah, don't forget about monthly payments as well. That can maybe help a little bit if it comes to spreading the costs. Right, Dave. Any more questions? I mean, 45
I
minutes.
think Carl Blasberg has asked a question about Everest. The actual summit of Everest, because he's a little bit, he suffers from the affliction of Everest obsession as well. Any advice that we would have on Everest summit expeditions? So they're not cheap, but so, I mean, when I say not cheap, I'm talking like mortgage level, not cheap. But I would equally say that there is a correlation between the amount of money that you spend on a trip and your chances of survival. If you book a trip for say 20 grand, I suppose 50-50 is kind of the best odds you can ask for. If you spend 120 grand, it's over 90%, so that illustrates the difference. So don't skimp on the trip just because you want to reach the summit. No summit is ever worth your life, and don't go bankrupt trying to do it either. So what I would do is think of it as a long-term goal, work up to it, put loads of money away, do a lot of research, and go with an expedition that whose highest priority is like keeping you safe. No, not the summit. Summit is second priority. Getting you as high as you can and down safely and back home to your family is more important than the summit. So yeah, that's what I would say. That's going to be when we run our expedition. It's going to be the biggest priority is getting you all back on the flight on the way home. Summit second. So that's the big advice that I would give. But also educate yourself as much as you can. Watch as many documentaries, read as many books. If you want any recommendations, drop me an email because if there is a documentary I haven't seen, I'd love to know about it. And all the books, I can recommend you some really good reading and stuff like that, and point you in the right direction to kind of like really absorb yourself in it. So yeah, crack on.
Yeah, nice, Dave. I think the only thing I'd add, like Dave, we've done all the research, and when we will be running them, they certainly won't be the cheapest because we want to make sure that they're the best. Similar to the trekking industry, we didn't want to be the cheapest. We wanted to try and, although we're not the most expensive, we're not the cheapest because we wanted to make sure there's quality, and that's going to be the same with Everest summits. When we get it as well, we're going to make sure we hire the best people, and they're not cheap. But I think Dave, all the expeditions that we followed over the years, isn't it? I know you've met with Russell Bryce essentially,
Yeah.
who used to run Himex. I think he's semi-retired now. But yeah, he was the kind of go-to guy really when it came to Everest. Always never lost a client. Although he did on the descent, but he kind of said no, he left me then because I think he's trying to ski down.
Yeah, no, what it was, yeah. So Russell Bryce, I think, never lost a paying client from the moment he was responsible for them, from the moment he wasn't. And there was one guy, I believe, who paid him only to get to the summit, and then he was on his own then and was going to ski down, and I think he had an accident. So technically, if Russell Bryce was still guiding him down on his feet, he would have almost certainly survived. But no, Russell Bryce is the guy I take a lot of inspiration from. That like everybody in Everest, there's polarizing views, pros and cons and stuff like that. But the one thing, I was lucky enough to meet and spend some time with him, and he really drilled that message into me that I then parroted out to you guys, which is that he will take 100 grand of your money. He will try and get you to the top, but he won't have any qualms whatsoever about turning you around or canceling his expedition. And he always said that, like if someone's going to walk themselves into a situation they can't walk out, I'll turn them around forcefully and deal with the rest of it in court. Because he doesn't want it on his conscience, and that's what I really, really like. There's a documentary, a Discovery Channel documentary called Everest Beyond the Limit, which is him and his expedition on the north side. But there's also a couple of books that you can read as well where he features quite prominently. And again, there's also a documentary coming on Netflix, I think this week, called Sherpa, which follows him and his expedition. And he is a polarizing kind of guy because some people agree with what he's done, some people don't in terms of his guiding of Everest. But you have to accept the fact that we live in a world now where commercial guiding of Everest exists. It's not going away. People have an aspiration to get there who aren't elite mountaineers, and if it can be done safely, then why not? But
yeah, no, he's a great guy, Dave. I know you had a pleasure of meeting with him in London, didn't you? Having a couple of pints.
Yeah,
as always. Nice guy, right?
Yeah. Well, that was when so back had an ambition to summit Manaslu with Russell Bryce, but it was scuppered 2 years in a row, and now it's on the back burner. It was the earthquake and then the avalanche, which sadly stopped all kind of expeditions in Nepal. So there was going to be a Manaslu summit at one point in my distant past, but hopefully that's going to be in the next few years now.
Yeah, exactly. And Dave, you go back to what we talked about in the beginning. Get that data and work towards it. Will certainly be it's in the future. I think we don't want to get too far away from who we are. I mean, we're high altitude trekking specialists, but we've got aspirations to climb mountains as well, and we do a lot of peaks now as well, because of the people we connect with, and we've got great relationships with. We feel like we've got a really good product there that's going to get you guys, and you're going to have an awesome time. But 100% we'll be doing these things over the next few years. As you know, we I think if one thing the last year has taught me is I'm just going to do everything as soon as we can. But we want to make it safe. We want to make it the best. I think Bryce be telling us off, saying you got to do this, you got to do that. We'll do it our own way, but we'll do it a safe way. And we're not going to catch a chairlift to the top, Jerome. No at all. But as someone mentioned, I think it was Miko, about Ed Vistas, because I loved Ed Vistas. He's a great guy. I read a lot of his books. No Shortcuts to the Top is one of my favorite. Just because of he focuses on fitness. He focuses he's hard as nails guy, but climbed a lot of mountains. I think he was one of the first guys in the US to climb all 8,000 meters mountains back in the 90s. And he's a very inspirational chap. I think what you said there, about is getting to the top is optional, getting down is mandatory. 100%. It's only halfway there, and that goes for any. You go to Everest Base Camp, you go into Kili. Although it's all about getting to the summit, essentially, you want to reach the summit. Save some energy for the way down. You're going to need it. And it's whenever we do any sort of trip, we'll be reminding you of that. And you'll have an awesome time along the way.
Yeah.
Nice, Dave. Well, look, I know we've pretty much covered anything. I mean, people saying you still look like Captain America, Dave.
It's definitely not Captain America now. The haircut is Saturday. It's been booked in for Saturday. It's locked in. All of this will be gone. So, I nearly shaved it off the other night. I tell you, I was
Really?
this close. I was this close to doing it, and I just thought I can't do it because I know what I look like with a bald head, and it's not
Well,
pretty.
Dave, can you make us a promise though? This time next Tuesday, is it going to be cut?
Yes.
Happy days. There we go.
This
Right.
did right. This time I was gonna say then. I was gonna say if it's not cut, I'll shave it off. But I'm not saying that. I'm not gonna.
Oh, that is
I'm not gonna hold
great.
myself to that. But no, I have a haircut on Saturday. Yes. So yeah, the long wait will be over.
Yeah, no, curtains for the curtains. Yeah.
Honestly, there's nothing I can do with it. There's nothing I can do with it. It just falls that way.
I think it adds to the Yeti look, mate. Yeti look. But yeah, I think one more question. Brian's asked, do you have any training weekends penciled in? Now we're sort of getting a little bit back to normal. Yes, we do have some dates on the website. I think the August one is pretty much sold out. I think. I need to double check with the guys, but I know we're doing another one in September. We always like to do two relatively close together. But yeah, definitely, Brian, I'd love to have you with us. Any Evertrekker, if you're looking to come on there, I think Lauren's put the link in the comments. Yeah, definitely jump on if you do. I can't wait for the August one, to be honest. It's going to be fantastic. But yeah, Brian, any questions around that, though, do drop us an email, info@evertrek.co.uk. Right, Dave. Yeah. Any final thoughts there, mate, before we finish up?
Kim, if you are a hairdresser, I'm more than happy for you to come over with the clippers at some point. Is it legal? Are we allowed to do that now? I don't know if it is. But no, other than that, yeah, another great Tuesday tune-in. Love the questions. Hopefully, a little fat camp to base camp was a little, if just one of you thought to yourself, I'll try it then, then I'm happy to share that, So yeah. Oh, Marika, she's just joined. Hi, Marika.
Marika, hello, Marika.
Won the free trip.
What time do you call this?
Yeah.
I say, what time do you call this? Not my. There we go. But yeah, Marika. Yeah, if you only just joined us, do watch it from the beginning again because it does save and you can rewatch it. But yeah, great stuff. We'll see you. Yeah, we'll catch you next Tuesday, guys.
Awesome. See you later.
Bye.